While Johnny may want us to believe he's a literal Somali pirate and ex-child soldier with a 5-star wanted level on Instagram, something he'd probably brag about in his sleep, his true identity appears to be that of Ishma Ramsey KH, a 23-year-old man from Scottsdale, Arizona. Now, most of Johnny's life before he became one of the most aggravating IRL streamers on the planet remains a tragic mystery, but I managed to dig up some Discord messages from his server where he casually mentions having a finance degree. Oh, and get this. He's even listed as a notable alumni on the Arizona State University Wikipedia page. Don't snipe me, H-Bomber guy. Johnny alluded to growing up with a good education and an upper-middle-class lifestyle, likely getting everything he ever wanted, because judging by how disrespectful he is these days, I'm guessing the word no was a rare guest in his childhood vocabulary. It also doesn't help that Johnny is one of the most insincere creators on the entire internet, making genuine clips of him dropping his over-the-top persona.
I was a bot, I was a robot, I was somebody who was stuck in the hamster wheel of life. When I went to school for those 4 years, I did really well in finance, but I was depressed. I did not like where my life was going. Where is that gonna lead you? You go to school for 4 years, you go work for 40 years, you end up in a cubicle with a suit on and
Hey, they do exist, believe it or not. Early on in his career, he actually got a little candid. Case in point, here he is, just casually dishing out his disdain for his fellow classmates and calling them bots who are just out here trying to coast through school and get a regular job.
Company for a while, I still run it now, and that kind of gives me the freedom and the income to pursue my passion, which has also always been content creation, but I've never had the time to do it, because it's either I was working, or it was either I was in school, or it was either, you know what I mean? I had something that was always in the way, time-wise. And so now that I have this free time, I'm exploring the world.
I can stream some nasty shit. We can go to the soap land, we can go to the red light district tonight.
Very, very beautiful.
Let me give you
How old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah.
Yes.
How old are you?
Yes.
20.
You're right, yeah.
So smart. I'm too young for you, I guess.
How old are you?
I'm 16.
It's legal here in Israel. Take my Instagram.
Johnny lies to them about his.
So here's where Johnny's lack of filter takes a real creepy turn. In the video, he straight up lies to these girls about his age, claiming he's 19, when in reality he's 23. But wait, it gets worse. After dropping that little fib, he reassures everyone that it's totally fine because according to him, 16 is the age of consent in Israel. Like, dude, nice try with the "it's legal" defense, but that's not how this works. This entire interaction just screams red flags all over the place. Sure, while it's technically true that 16 is the age of consent in Israel, that doesn't make it any less creepy in my eyes. Let's put this in perspective in America, where Johnny is from. This is a guy who's already a few years out of college, flirting with a sophomore in high school. It's not just the age gap that's unsettling, it's how Johnny fully understands the dynamics at play and leans into them. In fact, he straight up tells his viewers that he doesn't care if he ends up going to jail. He's not joking either. And to top it all off, he casually says that these girls might as well be his 2 wives. Yeah, it's uncomfortable to say the least.
I'm 16.
I'll take both of you. I don't go. I'll go to jail. I go to jail. I got wife number 1 and wife number 2. I don't give a Johnny Somali, I really ball like that.
Kissing.
And just when you think it can't get worse, Johnny takes it up a notch. In the video, he's literally kissing their hands and getting their Instagrams, all while proudly comparing himself to notorious figures like R. Kelly and Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, because that's exactly the kind of comparison you want to make, right? It's like he's trying to out-creep himself at this point, and the whole thing just feels like a giant red warning sign.
I'm like P. Diddy, I'm like Epstein, I'm like R. Kelly, I don't care.
I know this is a lot to include kind of early on in the video here, but you have to understand that Johnny just does this kind of thing with no remorse or care whatsoever. He is totally aware.
I know this is a lot to throw at you early on in the video, but you have to understand Johnny just does this kind of thing with absolutely no remorse or care. He's fully aware of everything he's doing. In fact, in this instance, he leans into the creepiness, singing age is just a number and casually saying he'll really groom these girls because according to him, they need an older man in their lives. And just to top it off, he insists they should hang out when the cameras aren't rolling. It's like he's on a mission to prove just how messed up he can be without batting an eye.
For her, I go to prison. Take me to jail, police, come. Age ain't nothing but a number. You need an older man with some money. That's what you need. I really groom her. I'll really groom you. I swear to God. Let's go out. No camera. No.
I have like my friends here.
Not right now. I'm gonna be here 1 more month. We'll talk.
I'm taking my wife.
So Johnny's basically saying he'll take any aged girl and fly away like Diddy because, you know, that's totally normal, right? Just, what the heck have I stumbled across here? It's honestly mind-boggling how comfortably he says all this stuff, like he's just casually throwing around red flags like it's nothing.
I take any age, I leave. I take a plane, I leave, like Diddy. Like Diddy. I f any age, I don't go, I take a plane like Diddy. I'm out. Come get.
It's honestly just one pathetic display after another with Johnny. He's obviously a desperate person, desperate for Ice Poseidon's approval, desperate for attention, and desperate for a funny haha moment during his bland, insignificant streams. It's like he's just flailing around trying to grab onto anything that might make him relevant, but it all just comes off as sad and cringy. And then, in a true Johnny move, he tries to get a bite to eat at a local restaurant, but gets annoyed that they're taking too long with his order. So what does he do? He just completely leaves. No patience, no respect, just a guy who thinks the world should bend to his every whim. It's almost like he treats every situation like it's his own personal inconvenience. And to make it even worse, the owner was literally standing right behind Johnny the whole time. But Johnny didn't even bother to tell him what he wanted to order. Nope, instead he just bails, acting like it's the restaurant owner's fault for taking too long. Classic Johnny logic, right? And all of this, by the way, takes place in his first Japan stream, where he can't help but constantly remind everyone how much of an outsider he is. It's like he's proud of being completely clueless in another country. But maybe that's because he makes zero attempt to adapt to the culture. Johnny doesn't seem to get why he's getting all these weird looks on the train, while at the same time, he's waving his camera around and speaking way louder than everyone else in English. It's like he's got no self-awareness, just completely oblivious to the fact that he's making everyone around him uncomfortable. He's in a different country, but still acting like it's all about him. Classic Johnny. Yeah, man, no wonder they're shooting him dirty looks. All you need to do is take one look around the train to see that Johnny's kind of disturbing the vibe. Everyone else is quietly keeping to themselves, respecting the space, while Johnny's out here completely disregarding that social etiquette. The crazy part is, he actually shows a full understanding that the Japanese have a different way of doing things, but he just chooses to ignore it. It's like he thinks the world should cater to him, no matter where he is.
You studied their culture before going. I'm tired of foreigners giving a bad image. I'm trying to give us a bad image. I'm not here to give you a good image, bro. I'm not a role model. I am not your role model, bro.
So there's really no excuse for him not to follow the customs there. He has to understand the importance of being courteous and mindful of those around him. By his own admission, the people there are, for the most part, extremely kind and aren't harassing him.
Brothers get harassed in Asia. Ain't nobody harassed me in Asia ever.
In fact, all throughout his stream, you see people on the streets of Japan waving at Johnny, being incredibly warm and inviting. And what does Johnny do in return? Says they're all NPCs and calls the Japanese language Mulan language.
Yo, this shit is in Mulan language. What does it say? This shit is in Mulan language. What does it say? Y'all thought that shit was an error. It's Mulan language. Some real NPC activity right now.
It's hella NPCs out here.
This is crazy. These are NPCs, guys. We with the NPCs right now, bro. I'm with the NPCs out here. I'm with the NPCs out here. Really with the NPCs. Hey, these are all NPCs, bro. We got, oh my God. Hold on. I see a girl with a big ass over there. Hold on.
So there's really no excuse for him not to follow the customs there. He has to understand the importance of being courteous and mindful of those around him. By his own admission, the people in Japan are, for the most part, extremely kind and aren't harassing him, unlike, the way he treats others. He could easily respect the culture and not be a disruption, but instead, he's making it all about him, ignoring the very kindness that's being extended to him. It's like he has no clue how to reciprocate basic respect. In fact, throughout his stream, you can see people on the streets of Japan waving at Johnny, being incredibly warm and inviting. And what does Johnny do in return? He calls them all NPCs and refers to the Japanese language as Mulan language. Yep, Mulan language. It's honestly baffling how he can be shown such kindness and still turn it into an insult. It's like he doesn't understand the concept of basic human decency or respect for others. Which is incredible, because wandering around Tokyo alone with nothing but a camera and some free time kind of sounds like NPC behavior to me, Johnny. These people have lives, they have a support system, people who actually care about them. You, on the other hand, are a little bit of a different story. It's like Johnny thinks he's the only one out there doing something meaningful, while everyone else is just part of some background game. Meanwhile, he's the one stumbling through life with no real understanding of the world around him. If you knew anything about Johnny Somali before clicking this video, you'd know that this is the clip that really put him on the map, taken from this very same stream, no less. Johnny is sitting next to a man who is literally doing nothing when all of a sudden he asks if he's heard of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There's no broader context for any of this, no underlying meaning to what Johnny is saying. The point is literally just to be as random and uncomfortable as possible with zero awareness of how inappropriate it is. It's like he's trying so hard to be edgy, but it just ends up being cringy and tasteless. Warning these random men that if they do World War II again, they're going to get bombed? Is that what he's saying? What a completely insane and inappropriate thing for an American tourist to be shouting at Japanese locals. Johnny's out here making a joke out of a tragic chapter in history with zero regard for the people around him. It's like he's trying to be the cringiest tourist imaginable, completely oblivious to the fact that he's being incredibly disrespectful and culturally tone-deaf. Dude, these guys are just trying to get home from work. Please get the camera off of them. Johnny's out here bothering random people who probably just want to unwind after a long day, and he's making it all about himself. It's one thing to be awkward in public, but it's a whole other level of disrespect to invade someone's space like that, especially when they're just minding their own business. Much, I guess he wanted one of them to blow up and confront him so he could ideally get some kind of viral clip out of the whole thing. But surprise, surprise, only one person really steps up and says anything, a fellow American who, yes, speaks English and no, isn't much of a fan of Johnny's antics. It's almost like people are just fed up with his need to stir the pot for attention, and they're not having any of it. Johnny might have been hoping for drama, but all he got was a reminder that not everyone is going to tolerate his behavior. His decision to share such provocative content on a public platform not only raises questions about his judgment, but also adds to the growing backlash from both local and international communities who are already critical of his behavior. In South Korea, playing North Korean propaganda is considered a serious crime due to the country's strict laws on national security. The act of promoting North Korean content, including the national anthem, is seen as a violation of the National Security Act, which prohibits the dissemination of materials that could promote or sympathize with North Korea's regime. By sharing the North Korean anthem on his social media, Johnny Somali may have crossed a legal line, potentially facing severe consequences for his actions in South Korea. Johnny Somali's repeated actions could prove to be extremely dangerous for South Korea, as Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, is known for his unpredictable behavior and disregard for international diplomacy. Anything that provokes or is seen as supporting North Korea's agenda can escalate tensions between the two countries. Johnny's actions, including playing North Korean propaganda multiple times, risk inflaming an already volatile situation. The consequences of further provocation could lead to serious diplomatic issues or even military responses, creating significant problems for South Korea. Johnny Somali's activities frequently spark debates surrounding propaganda, as much of his content features offensive stunts that he attempts to pass off as comedy or entertainment. However, these provocative acts often cross boundaries, causing harm to international relations and amplifying negative stereotypes. Despite presenting his actions as harmless or humorous, the underlying consequences of his behavior, especially in politically sensitive regions like South Korea, are far from trivial. His disregard for the potential fallout from such content raises serious questions about the impact of his actions on global perceptions and safety. His controversial actions, such as kissing